Welcome into your Chiefs pregame show. This is Kingdom Kickoff for Starcade Media. I'm Noah Groniger, as always, being joined by Clint Schweitzer and the man, the myth, the legend, the one the ladies all write in about, asking where and when can we see more Rich? The answer is right here, right now. Former Kansas City Chiefs offensive lineman from 1983 to 1992, number 77, Rich Baldinger.
No, I appreciate that warm-up. I appreciate that introduction. But the lies that you are fomenting on this air about women wanting to see me, do we get enough of that from Washington, D.C., or do we need it on the podcast also, too? Let's throw some politics into this morning. So, guys, welcome. Thank you. I'm doing good. I had my knee cleaned out on Monday morning. I feel great. They pulled some nuggets out of that, some bolts maybe from old Cleveland front stadium there and from some of the other places I played at. So I'm doing good and I'm ready to go. And hopefully this carries over for the Chiefs today, that my success carries over for them today for another win. How about that for an introduction?
Guys, we're going to get into all of it. We're going to preview this Chiefs-Texans game as the Chiefs look to clinch the AFC West for the 7th straight year. But I got to hijack this show for a minute because we got to wish a very happy birthday to our co-host here, Noah Groniger, my friend of 20-plus years, my business partner of 10 years. We've been up and down the roads. We've done it all together. We built this Starcade Media from the ground up. So big happy birthday, Noah. You're now my age for the next 2 months. So I got you for the next 8 weeks.
Absolutely. I'm 38 years old. We're nearing 40. You're going to be 39 here in a couple months. So,
well, please join us. And all Noah really wants today is a touchdown from Kadarius Toney, who is in. And Noah, this is one of those, what we like to call a smooth transition into our actives and inactives, because Kadarius Toney and Chris Jones are in.
Yeah, our who's in, who's out. We've seen Jones and Toney are in. Jones had an illness. We were unsure. Of course, Toney's had the hamstring. McCole Hardman's still nursing this mystery abdominal injury. We're not sure, but it sounds like he's going to be coming back next week as the Seahawks come to Arrowhead. Out for the Texans as if they don't have enough problems with one win and going between multiple quarterbacks and Davis Mills and Jeff Driscoll. Out is their star running back, Dameon Pierce, the rookie who is really coming on, could have been Offensive Rookie of the Year. I don't know if that's his anymore now that he's out on IR with an ankle. Steven Nelson, Derek Stingley, their starting corners are both out. Brandon Cooks and Nico Collins, their starting receivers are out. They've got problems on the offensive line, the defensive line, linebacker, pretty much anywhere you can pinpoint. They've got an issue. They've got someone sitting out. Justin Britt, their center's out. So Quisenberry's in at center for them. So they have a lot of issues here, the Texans. Rich, this should be good news for the Chiefs, right?
It should be good news, but as I've said here, guys, weeks in and week out, as the Chiefs here, where they're at in second right now in the playoffs, we're right behind Buffalo hanging in there, and we thought maybe Buffalo would go down yesterday against Miami. But in these last couple of weeks, I'm going to keep saying the back end of this defense, the secondaries, really got to begin to assert itself. It's got to be able to step up. Given up 28 touchdowns on the year. I know a lot of it we've talked about, young players back there, not always having the pass rush that you need. But when you take a look at what the Chiefs might have to see in this playoff run this year, it's got to change. And, it's time for this defense to just start setting an attitude here in the last couple of weeks, playing teams that are suspect. But last week against Denver, giving up some touchdowns, with some miscommunications. Just can't have it because you get in the playoffs, you see what Miami can do. They got this guy named Tyreek Hill. Not a bad receiver. Not bad, Clint. He still can separate, and the Penguin doing the waddle and everything. So, across the board, the Chargers coming alive again. Mike Williams is appearing somewhere again for it. So, but anyways, that's where my hope is for this defense. Got to figure this out, whether it's man, zone, whatever it is, we have got to figure this out because if not, this is going to be a short run for the Kansas City Chiefs this year in the playoffs.
Well, don't let anybody tell you that Rich isn't the master of the segue. Talking about the secondary, we go to this graphic, Clint, to just expand a little more on the secondary or lack thereof.
Well, we've talked about it all year, especially on our Arrowhead Allies show that airs on Tuesdays about this young secondary and some of our other co-hosts that we adore very much. It's guys like Shane Williams and Brian B. Shinen, Michael Matthew. They talk about how this year has been all about learning. These guys have got to go out there. They've got to learn their craft and they've got to hone it. They're rookies out there. Joshua Williams, Jalen Watson, Trent McDuffie. These guys are going to have to learn their craft and get out there. But as you've seen by now, guys, it's week 15. And this should be a situation where these guys are getting better, that this is getting more apparent that this is going to be the future of this organization. We've talked about guys like Brandon Carr and Brandon Flowers drafted back in 2008 and how they were able to learn, but that was on a 2-14 team. This is a Super Bowl team that's struggling on the back end, and you see the numbers there. I have some real concerns that, like Rich said, you go up in the playoffs, you're going against the Jamar Chases. You're going up against the Gabe Davises and the Stephon Diggs and the Mike Williams, that this could be a short run if this Chiefs secondary does not find itself quick. These last 4 games, hey, Rich, you remember the old Texas football coach Darrell Royal? He said when you throw the ball, only 3 things that can happen, and 2 of them are bad. Well, the Chiefs have 4 games left, and not much good can come of it, only bad, as you're trying to chase that 1 seed. So Noah, as these last 4 games are trying to play out, you're trying to get to the playoffs, trying to see what the seeding is going to be. How do the Chiefs stay focused and try to bring this home when you've got the Bills who've already played and already won? You're just sort of chasing the 1 seed, sort of, you're just sort of living in limbo right now until the playoffs, really, with the opponents on the schedule.
Yeah, with what's left, I mean, like you said, I mean, they've just got to get through this unscathed. Hope maybe Buffalo can slip up against the Bengals and I guess get some of these rookies and younger guys, Karlaftis, we mentioned the secondary, some of these receivers like Tony, get him more integrated. And that's what you're looking for in these last several games here until you get to the playoffs. Just try and get everything honed in, everything focused in. We saw against the Broncos, it seemed like that fumble that Travis Kelce had against the Bengals carried over into the Broncos game. A lot of drop passes, very uncharacteristic. Didn't seem like he was locked in and focused. So I think that's something that they need to get going for the full 60 minutes here against the Texans, is to stay locked in and focused, right, Rich?
Oh, I agree with you. For the Chiefs offensively, listen, you showed the last 4 weeks you can run the football with the best of everyone. We needed that part of our offense. We needed balance. For me, the biggest question mark going forward is I look at my offensive line. Majority of the time, pass protection is pretty good. But when we go 5 and 7 step drop, if we're not max protecting, our quarterback is running for his life. He doesn't even get his feet set. He didn't even get a chance for routes to develop. You know, and I know you guys go to playoffs. Just go down the line. Start with Miami. It could be the Chargers. You're going to see Cincinnati, Tennessee. Go, Buffalo in the AFC Championship probably. If you're going to have to be able to match points, we're talking about having to put 30 up on the board. Well, you know what? If you're going to have to drive the field on every drive and not get any big chunk plays, it's probably not going to happen for you in the Kansas City Chiefs. So offensively, big guys up front have got to improve, got to do better in pocket protection. Guys, I was just watching that Buffalo offensive line last night. The majority of the time, Josh Allen doesn't have anybody within 3 feet of him. You can make those. When he gets outside the pocket, it only allows him to extend the field, but yet he's had time to let routes develop downfield. And so Chiefs have got to improve on that side of the ball. It's got to start right now. Today against Houston. Listen, Jerry Hughes is outside. He's got, 9 sacks on the year? It's a challenge for us. So big guys up front, we've got to see it, because the play that Patrick made last week with the chuck, just tossing the ball. I called it the South Beach chuck for the touchdown in the beginning. That was all because our left side of our offensive line whiffed. And Patrick was running for his life and just created some. So, that's just not going to happen in the playoffs. It's going to prove costly. So that side of the ball, got to step up over there, got to make things happen. Let's give Patrick a chance, because he made a comment, not to be long one, he made a comment in his press conference that he's got to basically stop pressing. Well, he's pressing because of 2 reasons. Guys aren't getting separation, but he's also getting a lot of pressure. And when you're under pressure, you do things you don't normally do. And we're seeing that with the turnovers from Patrick.
Yeah, how much do you think Tony's going to help that and be an answer for that? You mentioned the 5 and 7 step drops being a problem. I feel like Tony, we feel like we know what he can be, and getting him back in this offense, giving Patrick some quick answers off the line with his moves, with his wiggle, with his agility, with his speed and acceleration, to provide Patrick with some quick answers over the middle, something open that he doesn't have to have those 5 and 7 step drops, and we don't have to protect as long.
Well, and I also take, the one thing I was, when we were texting last night, Noah, back and forth, one of the things, and this adds to my answer, like Miami, why doesn't Miami use Tyreek in jet sweeps?
Yes.
Nobody can run with this guy. I mean, you got Waddle going vertical and maybe Tyreek on it. It would be unstoppable. My thing with McCole Hardman out, this is where I think Kadarius Toney can come in. He's got the speed. Get him the ball, let him go downfield, find that crease. Maybe then you're not so worried about the timing because he just hasn't been on the field. And believe me, guys, I don't care what anybody says about talent. In the passing game in the NFL, you have to be on the field with your quarterback. You have to be out there understanding what he's expecting of you, where to be. Coaches can say whatever they want, but it's the man taking the snap that's the final decision maker. And with Kadarius Toney not practicing, I don't know how much he's been out there on the field. It struggles to get things put together. I think we've seen that in our passing game early on this year. Some receivers just not there. It just doesn't happen overnight. So hopefully we can get him involved. But to answer your question, Noah, I think any way we can get him involved quickly and let him use his athletic ability to create yardage for us, just like Kelsey does. Anything that will offset the defense from having the ability to maybe just double cover Kelsey will prove to be healthy for the Kansas City Chiefs offense.
Well, guys, there is a lot on the line today as the Chiefs look to clinch the 7th straight AFC West Division Championship. And Rich, I don't know if you're aware of this, taking a look at this graphic here, this is unbelievable. 60 years of AFC West football. Broncos, Raiders, Chargers, 15 division titles each. Chiefs sit at 14 today. Could be that day. The Chiefs could tie the rest of the division. That would be insane that all 4 AFC West teams would have 15 division championships. My question is, when did the Chargers win all of theirs? I'm very aware of the Raiders in the 60s and 70s, very aware of the Broncos in the 90s and in the 2000s with Peyton Manning. The Chargers, we know Dan Fouts and some of those Eric Coryell teams, but 15 division titles for the Chargers. It's been since 2009 since they've won one. Man.
That's stunning to me. I just think of all the great years Philip Rivers was here and couldn't be able to get one.
Exactly.
That's a head scratcher. But for the Kansas City Chiefs for number 7 in a row.
Yeah.
Number 7 in a row. We know how hard it is, guys, years in and year out with injuries, change of personnel, coaches. Just some years it just doesn't come together. But what Andy Reid has done here is simply remarkable. 7 years in a row to be on top, to win in the division they have at home and on the road. It's mind-boggling. I just don't have words for it. It's something extraordinary from a different planet. I think Andy came with Patrick from the different planet. We're able to do this year in and year out. And he's always able to find his way to get his team motivated and playing at a level. And I just know as a former lineman, sometimes you're just banged up, sore, injuries just keep you from doing things. Chiefs are able to find a way. So my hat's off to that organization. Tremendous. And I look for number 7 today.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rich, I want to ask you kind of about Mahomes. We've talked about staying focused for a full 60 minutes that this team needs to do. Well, this is his first game. We've got the Magic Man here, Patrick Mahomes. This is his first start in his home state of Texas. He said there's going to be a lot of extra people there. Is he going to stay focused? Are the nerves going to be going that he has all these extra people and family watching in his first game back in his home state of Texas?
I think he is. The one thing you've learned about Patrick is he's able to adapt, change of personnel, understanding of the game. And the one thing you have to give credit to this young man is his leadership ability. He's able to walk out there on that field and make sure people are doing what they need to be doing to be successful. And yes, there's going to be we talk about the game in Texas and all the people watching, but Patrick's focus is on nothing but getting his team back to the playoffs. He remembers the loss to Cincinnati last year. He remembers some of the things that have happened this year, the turnovers the last couple of weeks. If there's one thing you know about this guy, when he sets his mind to something, there's no changing. He gets it done right. So I look for a good game from Patrick today, taking care of the football, reducing the turnovers, because he knows that'll be the difference in a playoff win or a playoff loss.
I would say it's unbelievable that he's starting his first game in the state of Texas, except for if you look around and you think about it, you got the Houston Texans, who don't really finish at the same spot as the Chiefs atop the division to be playing each year. Like the Chiefs will play the Bills, say, or Titans every year, winning that division. And then the Cowboys, obviously it's every 4 years. And in 2017, Alex Smith was the quarterback out there in D-Town, and the Cowboys came here last year. So, that's kind of how that has played out. And I did see that there was I didn't quite see who. I was scrolling Twitter, and one of the Chiefs players, I wish I could go back and find who the player exactly was, had a Houston Oilers sweatshirt on going in there, trolling the Texans fans a little bit. Noah, maybe like you should have. Where is your Houston Oilers sweatshirt today? That would have been a perfect. I
thought about it, but instead I've got this AFC West. Since we're going to go for number 7 today, I've got the AFC West on. But yeah, I don't know if maybe that was Justin Reed, if he's trolling them, if he's causing some more trouble. If that was him, I'd watch out for Big Red.
Big Red is definitely nipping at those heels. We're guys, other games around the league this week as we kind of start to dial in on playoff scenarios. The Bengals go to play the Bucs. We got the Chargers playing the Titans here. For the Chiefs, I mean, obviously it's put your head down, forced games against inferior opponents. You just got to go put your head down and win. But looking around, I mean, the Chiefs aren't really getting much help here so far. We had Buffalo knock off the Dolphins last night and a come from behind win. But man, you don't really like the idea of the Bucs and Tom Brady knocking off the Bengals. I mean, the Bengals are a team that has, by virtue of the Ravens loss, has now moved into that 3 seed. So you could very well see a scenario where it's Bills, Chiefs, Bengals heading into the playoffs with Rich. For me, a nightmare scenario. Chargers as a 7 seed. That means the Chiefs have a road of Chargers, Bengals, Bills to get to a Super Bowl. And I do not like that road to hoe.
Yeah. And then you might end up with this team called the Vikings at the top, So
I'm okay with that.
I don't know if I want to see them or Philadelphia, especially that defense of Philadelphia, the way they can rush the passer.
I don't want to see Justin Jefferson against our secondary.
No, I think any team that plays the Vikings should be allowed to have 12 men for defense. Justin Jefferson, to me, it's, an amazing thing when you watch that guy, it's the same release on any route. He just, that stem just strides off the field, and you see people just totally panic because they don't know what he's going to do. But an amazing individual, amazing athlete. But, guys, I wanted to add one thing. I know that we've been talking about this secondary, but I want to see something today. The last couple weeks of this defense. Leo Chenal, the linebacker we brought in, what was from Wisconsin, I think it was. When maybe Nick Bolton. How about if we change up maybe some of the personnel grouping on defense and in rushing the passer? Let's bring out some exotic formation, people, groupings, stunts. Let's bring something that makes people, we're going to have to be aware of these guys now. Where is Nick Bolton? Is he on the line or is he a linebacker? Do we count him? Because he can come from anywhere. I just would like to start. I think we need help, especially with the young secondary that is struggling. We've got to be better in pressuring the quarterback. And, you'd see Cincinnati game. I went back and watched that. Nowhere where we in terms of pressuring quarterback. So I just want to see some of that. Let's see some of it, because going into the playoffs, I think to be successful, the Chiefs are going to have to be more dominating up front and able to bring pressure from many different groupings than what we've seen so far this year.
Well, one of those groupings involves sending a L'Jarius Sneed, who's the best corner that blitzes here off. But when you do that, Noah, you've talked about it all year, then you leave your rookie corners out in coverage and they're just getting burned. So, Rich, you bring up a good point. This is on Coach Spags to try to figure this out as we enter the home stretch. Noah, maybe today is the kind of a day to kind of experiment with some of these more exotic blitzes. We saw last week 6 sacks out of this defense. What shocks me, guys, about last week is this defense got 6 sacks, 2 interceptions, and played poorly. Yeah. That's a problem. Yeah. And part of that is short fields that were left by the Patrick Mahomes turnovers that got Denver into good situations, and Jerry Jeudy pouting, throwing his helmet. Never seen behavior like that rewarded like it was with a 3-touchdown career game for Jeudy. But Noah, maybe today's the day for Coach Spags to try, what Rich is talking about, different groupings, different situations, situational blitzing. Got to see more from guys like Karlaftis, the rookie, and maybe today's a day that we can leave these corners against some of these receivers. They can't really hurt you, that being the Texans on the outside.
Darius Harris, the linebacker. I mean, Willie Gay. I mean, what I'm just thinking about is putting them in different up on the line. maybe in the A gap, in the B gap, a Casey wide look or something, just something that makes all the league now look to say, okay, this is where the Chiefs are going for the playoffs. We see this now. This changes up everything. And if it's way, like you said, it's amazing, Clint. 6 sacks last week, but still the one touchdown the Judy had at the end of the first half, it was a simple switch between McDuffie and Snead. They didn't call it. They didn't make the switch, and Judy makes the touchdown. My whole thing is, you know what, guys? You're going to get beat out in the field physically. Sooner or later, you're going to step the wrong way. Somebody gets you. But don't get beat because you don't communicate. I used to tell people that when I came with the Giants, the right tackle for the Giants, Gordon King used to tell me, he goes, Richard, these defensive guys, they don't care if you tell them every time who you're going to block. They ain't going to believe you. So just go ask me if that's the thing I blocked, you know. So to me, I sometimes it's just very frustrating to watch players don't communicate. You got to get it done because it's so complicated. Because if not, athletes are so good on every team, they'll make you look funny real quick if you're not on the same page with your buddies.
Yeah, and to Clint's point, I kind of wanted to ask you this, Rich, about L'Jarius Sneed. He's your utility player. He's your utility knife. He does so many different things for you. You can put him in different places on the field, whether it's in the box, coming off the edge, at corner. But if you're blitzing him off the edge, you're taking, like Clint said, your best cover guy out and leaving all your rookies, your Watson, your McDuffie, your Williams, out on islands, and sometimes Brian Cook back there at safety as well. So how does Spags kind of navigate this and using your utility player, because he's great, he's our best edge rusher, blitzer coming out of the slot there. He gets home almost every single time, causes touchback fumbles, but you're taking your best cover guy out of the secondary. How do you play that?
I think you got to go with more of the nickel defense. I think you've got to come in with your linebackers more. I think you got to have them fill in at certain positions. Maybe one less defensive lineman, a linebacker comes in at that role. Willie Gay can show you he can rush the passer. He can bring it. Tremendous interception last week. Tremendous athlete changer. Let's start getting different groupings. Let's protect some of our secondary. And I have to agree with you. In today's league, your best cover guy can't be your number one blitzer. It just it can't happen. You just, and where you're going in the playoffs, when you see the abilities of receiver. I mean, if you look at what the top 10 receivers, 6 of them we're going to see in the playoffs. Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Chase, Higgins. I mean, just go down the line.
Diggs
in Buffalo. So it's like there's no way I'm taking Snead. I know what he can bring to blitz maybe once in a blue moon, but that guy's got to be matched up with somebody one-on-one because we all know it's one play away for a touchdown with some of these receivers that we'll see game in the playoffs starting here in a few weeks.
Yeah, at the end of that Bengals game, I think you had McDuffie doubled with Thornhill on Chase. You had Williams on Higgins, and then you just had Snead out there on Boyd, their third option at receiver. And, of course, they get the 3rd and 7 first down to Higgins against Williams and game over.
Yeah, and again, and for some of these young guys now, you know, you got to start playing with confidence. You guys, sometimes I wonder, just because they're not in perfect position, they're like, I'm thinking too much. You know what? Sometimes you just got to stop thinking. The guy's got a different colored uniform on than you. Just go hit it. Go smack it. But, you know, sooner or later, you just have to say, okay, coaches have given you what you need to know. Now you need to take on the field, but you need to demonstrate an attitude. And this is where I'm saying they just need to come out, starting it against a Houston team that is struggling. We all understand that. Top receivers out, top running back out, you know, questions in the O-line. You should be able to come out, but let's start demonstrating an attitude that, you know what, we can play. If I'm not in the right position, I have the athletic ability to recover. And let's just start demonstrating. Sometimes I think when some things go wrong in the back end of that defense, it kind of carries over a little bit. Can't be like that in the National Football League.
Well, guys, before we get to our predictions, we got to bring this up because as of last Sunday, Travis Kelce had the record-breaker game, 5th tight end all-time with 10,000-plus receiving yards. He's now 7th. It's a 7th straight season with 1,000 receiving yards. He extends the record by a tight end. Travis Kelce, we mentioned it, had the fumble against the Bengals. He went on his podcast and said, guys, I gave him one, gave him a game, gave him a win, took full responsibility. Last week, had some maybe some issues, some concentration issues that led to some drops. Maybe he wasn't kind of fully invested there. But Travis Kelce, age 33, Rich. He's almost up there with Noah and I here. It's weird because we've asked this question in different ways throughout Travis's career. In your opinion, Rich, and I value it greatly, at age 33, what makes Travis Kelce so great?
His commitment to greatness. I think he's proven everybody so wrong that when he came in, they thought this was going to be another NFL burnout guy, just problems, couldn't keep focus.
Yeah.
But have you ever seen a man more focused on a football field than Travis Kelce? And when he does make a mistake, it automatically learns from it. But he brings an attitude every week. And, you know, he doesn't need speeches. He doesn't need to get motivated before a game. The man knows what needs to be done, and he plays like that every week. You watch the little things. And, you know, the amazing thing to add to that is, I don't know if you just watching Tyreek last night, if you notice the fundamentals of him going to get the football, hands, arms extended, using his body, not letting people go through him. I'm thinking, where did he learn those fundamentals from? Where did he learn how to play that game? And that's what Travis Kelce is to me every time. Yes, there's been mistakes. It's going to happen in the National Football League. But when you watch a guy, no matter where he is, how he comes out of a break, whether it's man, whether it's zone, what he needs to do, how he comes back to the ball, everything is choreographed exactly right, step for step. That's a guy who's focused. That's a commitment. I am telling you that either you've got it or you don't. Coach will never make that into you. You either have to have it or you don't. And that's what Travis Kelce, like Patrick Mahomes, have proven to me. These guys, no matter what has happened, they're able to put it aside, gain their focus back in the game, and make things happen. And that's why you got to love Travis Kelce. He's long from being done. I'm telling you, this guy, the speed on him right now.
Wow.
If I could go that fast on a motorcycle, I'd be happy.
Yeah, generational talent for sure. Yeah. Before we get into our Texans predictions, I want to give you kind of one big picture question here. What would you consider a success at the end of the Mahomes era, Rich? Is it 3 Super Bowls, 4? Because we've got the one at the end of this. If it's still just one, maybe you're a little disappointed. Maybe you're a lot disappointed, depending on who you are. We never really thought we'd get one and have this franchise quarterback and maybe one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. But what is a success at the end of the Mahomes era for you, Rich?
Oh, wow. Is this like algebra class? Do I have to come up with an answer?
Yes.
You got plenty of white space to start doing the equations back behind you if you need to.
Wow. That is, I tell you what, yes, you want to see that man, Patrick Mahomes, carry another trophy. I mean, the guy that, for my era, Dan Marino, we all know, played in the one Super Bowl, didn't get the victory, and never saw it again.
Yeah.
And you understand, I had a couple of years working at CBS. I remember talking with Dan and about that moment. And you know when something comes through a person's emotions that is going to live with them to the very end. And his eyes, I remember when his dark, cold, like a great white shark ready for an attack. It was something that will eat him. And to me, I want to see Patrick hold that trophy up again. I want him to see at least one more. That's all I want to see, one more to come back, because it's so difficult in today's game. I mean, just the changes you see in the salary cap, the injuries, the personnel. I mean, it's just so hard to keep it together. So another one for me would be successful. And just to watch this man through his whole career, what I'm seeing right now, just simply amazing as he's going down. As to me personally, is the greatest quarterback who's ever played.
Strong words, and absolutely can't wait to see where you got to just sometimes it's hard to just take a moment and realize the ride that you're along for and what it means. I think it was Andy Bernard in The Office said, I wish we knew we were living in the good old days when we were still in the good old days, and guys, we're in them right now. Rich, for today, we got to get your keys to victory before we get to our predictions. Shouldn't expect too many crazy predictions today, playing the 1-win Houston Texans. I think they have a tie in there too against the Colts. So we got to be cognizant of that, because our good friend Shaggy Shane Williams did predict a Chiefs tie this season. Let's hope that does not happen, especially today.
No, I mean, let's just be giving the Chiefs out of the ball. I mean, listen, I think we're at -5 in the turnovers. And every time the Chiefs have been successful in the playoffs, they've been plus in the turnover margin. So
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a haunting factor for the Chiefs. I'm pulling my Marty Schottenheimer out. Got to take care of the football, guys. You give any offense in the playoffs an extra chance to drive the ball because you've turned it over, you're probably going to lose the game. So take care of the ball. That begins with Patrick Mahomes. He talked about it. Let's see it. On the other side, I mean, for defense, as I talked about, secondary just needs to step up. I want to see a dominating defense. I mean, listen, this is a defense that's only, I think, have what? 5 interceptions on the year? Not good enough. Let's start playing the game. Go attack the football. Bill Parcells always said it the best. I'm not giving you a salary to sit in the nickel seats and order popcorn and watch my game. Go become the game. So let's see a secondary start becoming active, aggressive. Coach Spags, leave them in a man defense. Let them be physical. Start pounding on people because that's the only way you're going to be able to beat these receivers in the playoffs going forward. Start today with Houston. That's a good way to start. Just developing an attitude. In this game, it's all about developing an attitude, carry it over for confidence.
Well, yeah, Noah, you know, we personally have sat in the sterile environment that is NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas. It's one of those, dome stadiums. I think they said they might have the roof open today. Not sure if that's still gonna be occurring, but so. It's a sterile environment. The Houston Texans are just a witness protection program. I like to call them organization right now. This is the Chiefs going on the road where they have been traditionally a more focused team over the last this season here. So I like the Chiefs to go in there, get the job done. Maybe you get a few highlight reel plays here to get the fans invigorated, and something like a 30-13 Chiefs win, sending us to Christmas Eve next week to play the Seattle Seahawks, these slumping Seattle Seahawks that are about to head over a cliff and perhaps miss the playoffs. Noah Groniger.
Ooh, yeah, I've got 7 more points per team. I got 37-20 Chiefs, and if Rich is going to use a Martyism, I will too. Boats loaded, man. One play at a time. Focus and finish. 60 minutes of football. Let's go.
Wow. I hope they heard that out there at warm-ups, guys.
I hope that. I'm going to make, guys, I'm just going to say it's going to be a 28-7 game today. I think the Chiefs are looking at this defense of Houston. 165 yards are given up on the ground. I think the Chiefs pound the ground on this thing. I think they're going to continue to make sure that part of their game continues to prove and becomes essential. Better in the red zone. Let's physically dominate. We've got 2 running backs in Pacheco and McKinnon that can do so many special things. Well, let's see all the things. Let's see toss sweep. Let's see quick pitch. Let's see student body left, student body right. Let's put it all together because, we know what? I think going to these playoffs, ball control might be the only way the Chiefs win this game. I don't know if they're going to be able to match points with everybody. So let's get it done. I say let's make it physical. I'm not worried about the score. No turnovers. Win a football game on the road. Get your number 7. Sounds good to me.
That's all you can ask for. Now it is Noah's birthday. All he wants is a Kadarius Toney touchdown. I'm just throwing that out there. We got to see Toney involved. We want to see what we might have going forward, especially when you get Toney and McCole Hardman foreseeably on the field at the same time coming up. Maybe you have some options there. But guys, thanks so much for joining us here on Kingdom Kickoff. It is an NFL Sunday. Kick back and relax, because let me tell you something else. You're not going outside, at least not for the foreseeable future in Kansas City. So warm up by the fire. Get you something in the oven. For Noah, it's going to be it's his birthday. So pizza rolls today, or
yeah. I'm
okay.
Giving myself a treat here. Pizza rolls, cake, ice cream. It's all on the menu.
I love it, guys. Enjoy the game. Thanks for joining us on Kingdom Kickoff. Rich, always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much.
Noah, congratulations, buddy. You're getting up there. The arthritis is going to start forming on you sooner or later.
I'm making him this hat for the hairline that's receding.
Oh, Rich doesn't have that problem. Thank you guys so much.
Go Chiefs.
Take care, guys.